You ever wake up on a beautiful day and feel like God took rays of sunshine right out of the sky and filled your heart with purpose? That's what this show, this part of the journey, feels like for me. My name is John, and I've been a musician and an actor for the greater part of my life. I've searched for spotlights and stage lights everywhere I've traveled. But now I'm in search of a different light. I'm joined on this journey by another brother and a friend named Jett, who has also had his fair share of success on stages, won Grammy, been all over the world. Together, we aim to highlight people and organizations who are beacons of light for their country and their communities. They are patriots of love and hope for those around them. There's a narrative out there of chaos and destruction, sadness and evil. But there are others who believe in beauty, light, hope, and love. Join us on this journey to discover the power of Patriots.
So we're approaching June.
Yeah, getting here in June, and like Jett and I discussed earlier about just trying to pay homage and a little respect and give some awareness for PTSD. And for this month, so we're getting ready to celebrate with my sister this weekend. My nephew was deployed. He just came back and he looks great. Everything is going well for him. But there's a lot of guys who have served. There's a lot of people and men and women who have served who are suffering from things that they've seen, from things that they've done, things that we can't comprehend, And if we try, not that we can't listen and we can't, be a part of the conversation, but we also, just can't quite comprehend. I know the stories that I've heard personally, like sitting on the porch of Camp for Heroes and talking to some of the people we serve. It's been just mind-boggling, some of the stories I've heard about the horrific actions that have occurred in front of a lot of these men and women, and how you can unsee it. So PTSD is a very real thing, and we just wanted to take a moment and try to highlight not just, there's all these conversations. I mean, Jett and I made a pact with one another. It's not really something not in writing and not like, but kind of with just an understanding. We're not trying to make this a political program. We're not trying to it's not about right or left side. It's not about pro guns, anti guns. It's not about this race or that race. But it's the
Well, it's
mental health.
Yeah, it's mental health and, putting God into your life.
That's it.
That kind of thing, and service, being of service to others, that's the whole thing, when you can reach a point in your life where everything in your life is not about you. You have a higher purpose, you want to, use the tools and instruments that God has given you to serve others, whether it be, working with them through their traumas or different things like that, or just being a listener.
That's right.
So that's what it's all about. And, hey, I'm glad we were able to do that down at Camp for Heroes and with Believers Today. That's what we're all about.
That's right. And through like you said, that's a great example, like Believers Today, having the outreach that you have in community, because you have to be the eyes and ears, like you've always said, you've been saying recently, if you see something, say something. And so that's what we're trying to be, is the eyes and ears on a program for all of you out there who may not see some of these organizations who are out there doing amazing things. So today our guest that we're going to be featuring, his name's Kyle Baker, and he is an officer who has seen traumatic experience, had experienced major trauma in his service, and so we'll going to visit that today, and that's kind of the whole purpose of what we're doing here at Power of Patriots is to be able to highlight what can come out of a trauma, because even though he experienced this trauma, even though he experienced tremendous pain, and it goes beyond his service, you'll hear in his story, in his family life, and everything else. But this just gives him a platform to show how he came out of that into creating an organization called the Patriot Foundation. Power of Patriots, it fits well with what we're doing. So, but, I mean, you thought he was interesting.
Hey, I thought it was. I mean, I was just in awe, especially when he lays the story out step by step. His experiences. So I think it's going to be great. I think you're going to love it. Check it out. Welcome back to fourth, fifth episode of Power of Patriots. Fifth episode. Keep me abreast. All right, we're moving forward, Today, who we got here, John? I mean, this is a friend of yours, somebody on your side of town.
So what is our saying about Jesus?
Hey.
Coffee and Jesus.
Coffee and Jesus, right, man.
So, Kyle and I met at an undisclosed coffee shop recently, and we got talking about everything that we had going on in our lives, and it was just we saw that we had some similar patterns of supporting first responders, about supporting military. He's going to tell you more about his journey, but he was a police officer, and we started talking about like our passions for helping those in need who have been struggling, who have gone through traumatic experiences, and really hit it off. And I said, man, you need to come on Power Patriots, and you need to tell your story so we can kind of get it out there, let people hear it and see it. So everybody, this is Kyle Baker. I'll let you talk a little bit more about what you got going on.
Yeah, we almost had a misconnection, honestly, because it was my board member that actually
that's right.
saw your shirt.
That's right.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
And then she introduced me to you.
That's right.
And then we got to talking, but yeah, we almost had a misconnection.
Wow.
But,
Jesus and coffee, I'm telling you.
Hey, man, things happen, just like cigar lounges. You have a cigar, and you have a cup of coffee. If you're open-minded, got a good heart, hey, you'll meet somebody. I mean, that's what it's all about.
That's right. You're open to meeting people. And
exactly.
That's exactly what happened with Kyle and I.
Yeah, so you were a police officer?
I was, still am, actually.
Okay, well, I'm leaving.
Still I'm off today.
No, man. No, you're never off. You're like, I'm going to tell you, man.
That's right.
Once you're a certified protector, and it just comes. That's who you are. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be. That's just who you are. And John and I are the same way too.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're right.
But how was your time in? I want to hear a little bit about.
I mean, gosh, my story. Honestly, I could take me hours to tell. From start to finish. But
we'll do part two.
Yeah, we'll do part two.
That's the first part.
But I didn't. My whole career has been law enforcement. My whole life.
Okay. Is that from family? Or?
No. I was the first one. If I had to back it up, I was probably like 4 years old. I got lost at a fair, and I was turned into the sheriff's department. And I think that's where, if I had to back it up.
So like a childhood memory.
John had that impact on you.
Yeah. So I was with him for like maybe 30 minutes, and then Mom found me, and so my whole life I wanted to be a cop, and then I went to the academy at 19.
Okay.
And so I was very young. Yeah. Lexington hired me at 20.
Wow.
You didn't play around, did you?
And then I did 7 years with them, and the last 5 I was a canine officer, so I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
But like anybody in their 20s, going in that young, you learn how to grow up fast. And I learned, I had a lot of pressure on me at the time, and I had an opportunity to get out and go truck driving across country with my sister.
Oh, wow.
So a little break. So I did that. Got out after 7 years, did that. I was just hoping to do like 5 years on the road, save as much money as I could, and go back into law enforcement and have a house paid off and all that stuff. Plans.
Best laid plans.
God had different plans for me.
Well, hey,
we know all
about God, your plan near last.
That's right.
So I only did 2 years on the road. I only did 2 years on the road, and unfortunately, I was misdiagnosed. I can say that now. I was misdiagnosed with something called Meniere's disease. It was an inner ear equilibrium issue.
Okay.
And so the medicine they put me on at the time, when I went back for my 2-year DOT physical, she was like, "You can't drive a truck on this medicine."
Oh wow.
So immediately I was kicked out. So I was lost again. I was just like, what do I do? I didn't think I could go back to law enforcement either, because I was like having some dizzy episodes and stuff. And So I don't know. That's when I met my wife. So she didn't know me when I was a cop before.
Okay.
I moved to Charlotte, where she lived here, and I got a part-time job and two part-time jobs. One at Bass Pro Shops in loss prevention, and one at a local detail center, car wash.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, it's 7 years later, and I'm managing this car wash for these guys that are investors out of Charlotte.
Okay.
And the plan was for me to buy this car wash, and they were gonna help me buy this car wash. So that's where my entrepreneur side kind of came out.
Right. Yeah.
You got something.
Yeah.
See,
yeah, that's the short version of
but that's the thing, and you, the audience, I want you to take a grasp of this, because sometimes, you know, God will take something out of your life, you know, that you think you value, but it's no value to him, you know, and actually put you where you need to be.
Yeah.
He don't play around with it when it's time.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes just, you know, boom, put you right there, and you be like, well, what am I gonna do? I mean, that's not the attitude to have, but that's the attitude we have. Though,
that's right. That's human. That's what I think. That's
human
thing.
nature.
Yeah.
And for him to put my wife, you know, my now wife, girlfriend at the time, in my life at the time,
path.
Because I mean, she met me. I was truck driving on the road across country when I met her.
Yeah.
And then I moved in with her, and then I lost my job. And she could have, new relationship, she could have been like, get out of here. You know what I mean?
Curb.
Yeah,
you're going to the curb.
Another deadbeat. He just had that job anyway. He wasn't
couch surfing.
He wasn't out driving.
I told her recently, I said, I feel like I'm a trophy husband now.
I love it, Kyle. Trophy husband.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, she stuck with me on that and got through it. And then, you know, buying the car wash in the detail center would have been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But we had some competitors open up across the street. So again, a God thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll dip in really hard with the God thing, because I really wasn't a faith-based, like my family believed, but I'd never opened a Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had never went to church at that point in my life. I'm now in my 30s, right?
Right.
And yeah, somebody asked me, I believe, but I don't believe I do now. You know, now I understand it. You know?
Hey, those are the ones you use, man.
Right.
You don't even know you're being used.
Yeah. And he definitely,
so you can't resist
right,
one way or the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, he definitely used me, because about 2019-ish or so, I started having that feeling like I just wanted to get back in law enforcement. I just couldn't, no idea where it came from, because I mean, for 6-7 years I've been out at this point. I really thought that my career was done and I was just going to do this. And started getting that really passion, you know what I mean? The Holy Spirit is what I was calling it.
Yeah, well, that's
call it
what it is. Call it what it is. Don't play around with it.
That's right. Didn't know that's what it was at the time, but and then part of the story is that there was a Mooresville officer that was killed, and I didn't know him. He was a canine officer, and I had kind of made a lot of connections with Concord officers, you know, just from the car wash, coming in and washing their cars, and I would do free car washes for them and stuff like that. Well, one of them invited me to the funeral, and so my wife and I went. And went to the funeral, and my wife kind of got to see the side of law enforcement that she'd never seen before. And so we were on the way back home, and she was like, you know what? She's like, if that's what you want to do, you should do it. You know.
That's a brotherhood, you mean?
So that's exactly what came to me. I was going to ask that same question.
Yeah, I mean, she was just appalled of how many people showed up.
Yeah.
All the canine, I think it was, for her, it was all the canine officers that had just lined up along the pathway.
Yeah.
You know, that was powerful to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's all I really needed. I just needed that, you know, that
validation.
Yeah, validation that, you know, it's going to be fine. And so I went ahead and gave my notice, and at the time I could give a 3-month notice to the guys that really took good care of me.
Right.
The owners of the car wash. So I did that and started the process. You know, this is late 2019 at this point. And I'm in the middle of the process of getting hired on. I'm doing interviews and all the psychological and all that stuff. And my dad is killed in a tractor-trailer crash and on I-40 in Winston. And for me, and I'm the youngest of 6, so for me, you know, it was the first time in my life that I got to experience trauma versus just, you know, being the one to deliver the news or being there.
It's a lot different when it's in your personal life. Absolutely.
Yeah, not that we didn't. This is the direct hit to our family.
Right.
Aunts and uncles and stuff, but grandparents, but never, you know.
It hits different.
Yeah, it does.
It
does. And it was the first time. I'm 36 at this point, and the first time in my life. And so I mentioned faith, and I just remember, I think it was that night, coming home because I was the last one to get notified. I had an hour drive to get there. I do remember the state trooper though, and I gotta give him props, man. He was there even when I got there, and I have a big family.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "I'm not leaving until the last person gets here."
Right.
Don't know who that guy is today, but
Right.
I gotta give him props. He was amazing when I got there. Just the way his compassion and everything for the family. But I think it was that night I was heading home, or maybe the next night, and for the first time in my life, you know, I prayed unselfishly. That's the only way I can really explain it.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know something, whether my dad was in a good place, and you know, not mad at God by no means. You know, it was awful. The accident itself, no one else got injured. It was a single vehicle crash, and I'll say he worked for Panera Bread at the time, and the CEO called us, an amazing company, took good care of us.
Okay.
You know,
Cool.
but so I prayed, and as silly as it sounds now, I prayed for a sign, like a cross in the sky or something.
Right.
You know, at the time.
It's really not silly.
It's not silly.
It's not silly at all. I
Especially
mean,
when you
it's
see
clarification,
yeah.
and God will clarify.
Yeah. And I'm driving on the interstate at the time, heading home, you know, and of course I don't get no signs, and I'm like, all right, well, do I really deserve one anyway? So I haven't believed it was this point. You know? Here I am asking God for something, and I haven't, you know, really committed to Him, you know, my whole life. But either way, we get home, and I think at that point it finally just hits me, and I just break down in front of my wife, and I'm just crying. And I think I tried to stay strong, you know, for the family, just because of what I've gone through, my law enforcement side, and everybody else was, you know, broken. So I tried to be the strong one when it finally hit me at home. And my wife, you know, she did grow up believing, and she had her grandmother's Bible right there on the table, and I remember it was like a book cover, like a flowery book cover, tied, you know. And so she grabs it, she sits on my lap. She's like, well, you know that if you have questions, you can go to the back of the Bible. It'll tell you where to go to find the answers. And I'm like, I have no idea anything about this book, right? And so she sits there, and she opens it up, and she's, you know, we do a couple questions. She's flipping through. When she flips through, this piece of paper falls out. You know, the handwritten note from her grandmother that we never have seen. Her grandmother passed away like years prior. And it's written to her about the Bible and how it was her Bible, and she wants her to have it and all that stuff. And now she's crying, right?
Yeah.
So we'll fast forward a little bit. We go. She goes to bed, and I'm still, you know, I'm up doing laundry or something, and I'm at the laundry room. It's a little hallway, you know, double doors. And in law enforcement, when we get that feeling, hair stands up the back of your neck, get that feeling somebody standing behind you.
Oh man, have you been? I'm sure. Yeah.
More times than I like to count.
Me too.
But, you know, in law enforcement, it's like a threat, right?
Yeah.
Well, this time it happened, and I didn't feel like it was a threat. And I turn around.
It was a presence there.
And nobody was there, and she's still in bed, so I just shrug it off, and I go around to the closet, hang some clothes up, and it felt like it followed me. So I turn around, and I just, for whatever reason, out loud, I just said, Dad, are you there? And man, I tell you what, for about a good 4 seconds, the crushing on my chest, just my whole body, all felt up there.
That's powerful.
And then it was gone. And I don't really recall a lot of the rest of the night. I've tried to recall, and I don't really remember when I know I went to bed, right?
Wow.
And
Wow.
Woke up the next morning, and it gets better. Woke up the next morning, it had rained overnight, so I'm heading down out of my neighborhood, and I'm heading back to Mom's for day 3, and I see this cross in the sky, and I'm like, all right. So I'm just laughing. I'm like, all right, I got you. Like I'm a believer. You don't.
You got my attention. Hey, you parted the sea, man. I believe you did.
It freaking me out. But all it really was, you know, like a metal cross that you find. People just hand them out all the time. This little metal cross. And I had just bought this truck a couple months prior, and when I was changing everything out of my old car, I found this cross. And I threw it up in the dash, apparently. So that's all it was. A reflection of
Yeah, but that's
what you
needed.
It was how I got.
You need to walk on water. That wasn't
fine. It was how I got that cross when I started thinking about it.
Oh, wow.
It was almost 8-9 months prior at the car wash.
All right.
And this rusty, beat-up car comes rolling through. And I'm like, what in the heck is this dude doing? There's no way he's going to wash that car. And an old man, you know, comes up and hands me a whole bag of these things.
Oh, wow.
And then drives off. I shit you not. and he's like, give them out to whoever you want. So I must have kept a handful, gave the rest of them to the kids. And I'm like, all right, well, you know. So it's all starting to come together. In hindsight now, many years later, I start seeing all these things that happened years prior.
That's really
So yeah, I'm a believer at this point. So I started talking to one of the owners of the car wash who's also a believer, and I told him, I was like, man, I open Bibles and I can't understand it.
Right.
So I think it was like the next day or next week he comes by and he gives me like a plain English one,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the best gift I could
Yeah.
ever receive because I started reading everything. And he told me, he warned me, he was like, don't start don't start the Old Testament, start the New Testament.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm still starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, but I got about about quarter way in, and I finally flipped to the New Testament. And started reading.
Like this person who got this person, who got this person, who got this person, who got.
I'll take your advice.
But you know something. I mean, the Bible is. Here's the funny part, because we all have our stories that God. I like you ever see the movie what's Eli? Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eli,
Book of Eli.
Yeah, Book of Eli. See, we all have our book.
Yeah.
That we need to write, and you need to write yours too, because that is your experience, your covenant with God and everything. So and I keep notes on all these things that always happens, what God does in my life, and different things, and so it's good to have, man, because it's easy to forget.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, but that's amazing. That's amazing. So I take you had a, I feel that you had a very special relationship with your father. Not
really. No. I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
Like I'm the youngest of six.
Okay.
My dad is a great guy. Don't get me wrong. Did he have his problems? Yes, we all do.
Yeah.
And his with alcohol. Earlier on. He comes from a big family, a family of 14.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So a lot of his brothers and sisters, even today, are still wrapped up in the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
But luckily, my dad made the right decision. I think I was maybe like 9 years old or so, and he gave it up.
Mm-hmm.
So to hear my brothers and my sisters talk about the bad days, I don't remember those.
Right.
But Dad was a provider.
Yeah.
He I just having a conversation with somebody yesterday about how I don't follow sports as much as I probably should.
Right.
As big as I am. And people ask me if I played football, and I'm like, oh man, but I didn't grow up in a household where we watched sports.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Sports, And my dad did. My dad is a workaholic. He worked. That's all he did.
My father.
And and so yes, we had a great relationship. Could it have been better? Yeah, it always could be, right?
Right.
And so I do have those memories of like, man, I wish we would have went fishing more.
Yeah.
Wish we would have done these things more now, because you're right, life is short, and I didn't know that was going to happen. I will say that the next day he was supposed to go down and put his retirement in. So he had 30 days.
You always hear that. You feel like that's how you hear it happen so often. Is like, which is why I keep telling my kids, I'm like, live your life and live it like as big as you can. I mean, obviously we all have responsibilities, but don't take for granted like that. You don't know which breath's going to be your last one. So you just put away planning. I'm going to do it next week. I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it some other time. And then, you get to the point and it's like, I watched my grandfather work himself to death. To death, and he did have a good retirement. I did get to spend a good time with him, but like those are short years, and your body's broken, and and that's a And I do have, because it was an on-duty accident. It did take care of Mom, workers' comp. We still don't know what caused the accident to this day. We don't know what happened.
Wow.
But we're lucky in that aspect that even beyond the grave, Dad's still taking care of Mom.
Oh,
yeah. Well, it's funny how that can happen.
And you got to look at the positive.
I mean, I know. Same thing when my father passed. I mean, if people would still come up and say, I mean, even guys would come up and say, hey man, you didn't know it, but your dad used to come visit me and send me money in prison.
Oh wow.
But he was that kind of person, but that's great. That's great. That's what it's all about. But so therefore, he's still right here. Living on.
Still taking care of Mom. And Mom's doing. She had her moments, but she's doing good.
So from that experience, that time of your dad's life, obviously, like you said, you had a special relationship in some ways, but you also know that there was challenges he had. Tell us a little bit more. You can kind of tell you're getting to the point you're like, you're going to be reaching your own challenges in your own life. So what happens from that point on?
And we'll stick with the God. God just has a plan. And I remember really diving deep into that book I was telling you, the Bible, Plain English Bible, and learning, and it just fascinated me, and for the first time in my life I was learning what I felt like I should have been learning this whole time. And I remember, so I went ahead and continued. We had the funeral a week later. Went ahead and I think I had the oral board the next day or almost 2 days later or so. So I continued that process. Went ahead and continued the process. The academy, because I was out of law enforcement for so long, I had to go back to the academy again. I was not looking forward to that. I was 36 at the time, 36, 37, and not a young buck anymore. I feel a lot older now still. But so I started going back through the process again and go ahead and finish it up. Academy starts in January. They hire me. So now it's just a waiting game at this point until the academy starts. I go ahead and finish out my time with the car wash, training the new replacement. And during that time, I just remember at some point, whether it was then or after the academy, I do remember praying again about this time entering law enforcement with a purpose, to serve God and the people instead of just the people. Right. And I said, just use me, for good. Use me in a way that's going to bring honor and all that. I should have said with limitations. I should have said,
no limitations.
Yes, please don't go overboard. Because what happened, in December 16th, was something I never saw coming.
Wow.
And I never would wish it on anyone. And but ultimately, I went through the academy, and I remember we were the first COVID academy too. COVID academy. So COVID started in January there with us. And so here we are trying to go through the academy, also trying to learn how the country's going to handle this new COVID strain or the COVID stuff, and ultimately extended our academy another month because we ended up having to take a month off to go, and we just went to the agency and worked and helped with stuff while we were out. But we finally were able to finish the academy. The country was also dealing with a lot of the negativities with law enforcement. George Floyd, I think, also happened while we were in the academy.
Yeah, the alcohol ABC stores stayed open.
Yeah.
Churches closed.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of stuff that we saw that everybody dealt with.
Yeah,
for
that's
COVID, right? Wearing masks in class, 6 feet apart.
Artists like us, nobody used to play.
Having to wipe our desk down with alcohol when we break. It was just a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But we got through it. We graduated. I think it was June or July, maybe something like that. I just remember, and then I entered into field training. So you get assigned with another officer. Field training usually lasts about 4 months. Mine lasted 2, just because of my prior experience. Then I got out, and I believe in like September, October. So about the year anniversary of my dad's death. So really what I did was I pushed all my dad's deaths down to get to the academy. COVID, all that stuff. So now I'm out of training, and I'm assigned to the Concord Mills area night shift with my permanent team, and now I can finally start to mourn my dad. Right, that's kind of how I felt at the time. Right. But I remember meeting up with this officer, a random officer that was working an off-duty gig one night, and I parked next to him. We started sharing our testimonies, just like I just told you. And he shared his, and started talking about faith. And I was like, "Wow, this is great to be able to connect with somebody else right off the bat like this." And he said, "Hey, man, we do a Bible study here, multiple officers, and we do it. I think it was like every once a month." He said our next one is December 15th. December 15th. So I went to the Bible study on December 15th. Met everybody. Was given a book called The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. Amazing book. I read all of it. And the idea was we did the first chapter that night, and then we were supposed to do the chapters on our own, so forth, and come back and talk. But I didn't take the book with me to work the next day. I forgot it at home. So I went to work. It was a Wednesday. Again, I'm night shift. Nothing felt off that night. Nothing felt really off that night. But about 10:30 at night, I got a call for a single vehicle crash right there by Concord Mills. I respond, I locate the vehicle. Well, actually, back up. It was dispatched at a certain location, and the vehicle wasn't there. So I'm looking for this area and never find the car. And an ALE officer who was doing some inspections, local restaurants, happened to find it closer, about a quarter mile up the road, basically. So he radios it in. I saw his lights come on. I went and responded. So when I pull up next to or behind him, he says there's nobody in the vehicle. They're okay, no problem, man. Well, I appreciate you, hanging out. I got it. I'll take it. And so basically, it was a single vehicle crash, and the driver basically fled before I got there.
Right.
Nothing crazy. Had 30-day tags on it, I believe. So I had to run like the VIN and all that stuff. But so while I'm there doing my investigation, getting tow trucks and all that stuff, this lady pulls up and says that she was down at the nearby cookout, and this guy tried to get in her car, some random guy. And she was like, "Are y'all looking for somebody?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably our guy." Happens very, very, very common.
Yeah, looking for a new place to get away.
Yeah. So she told me to go sleep it off, and I radio for my two partners, Caleb, and I actually have three of us on that night. Caleb and Jason and Paul. And I said, "Hey, can one of y'all go down there? Can y'all go down there and try to scoop this guy up for me?" Right. So they respond, and I continue doing my investigation, and I hear them check out that they have arrived, and I think the ALE officer actually had also overheard my traffic, so he went ahead and went down there as well. So he found the guy. He radioed that he's got eyes on him. He's at the Sonic. So everybody responds to the Sonic, and I think it was only like, gosh, I don't know, 30 seconds maybe after I heard them check out, that I heard gunshots just coming out, just ringing out from down at Sonic. And Caleb, who was there, a younger officer, he's the one that got shot in the hip. He got on the radio, and I could definitely tell it was, I could hear the gunshots. Nobody else could. That was so close. So I went ahead and just told everybody that there were shots fired and to get there. But at the same time, I decided I was going to run at first, but then I realized I'm just still too far away.
Right.
So I got in my car and kind of did a U-turn and drove, and I was going to go down the gateway and come back up and come around. And I decided to stop at the guardrail instead, and I jumped down the hill.
That makes
So
sense.
yeah. So as soon as I jumped down the hill and I slid down, and I'll say these little things that I remember, like I remember feeling my flashlight come out of my holster. I remember going under my hand as I'm going down. But I remember the feel of the grass on my hand, all that stuff that my mind is super Yeah. And so as soon as I hit the bottom of the hills, when I heard "officer down" from across the radio. So as soon as I heard that, I looked up and I could see the officer on the ground, and then another officer standing over top of him. So of course I got a gun out this time, and I'm running through the parking lot towards them. And when I get to them, I can tell the situation is just, I can just tell the officer wasn't with us anymore. We'll say that. And so I think my training and experience really kicks in at this point. Thinking about it in hindsight, I beat myself up a lot after my shooting, questioning why I didn't do certain things, if that makes sense. But you
don't have that time.
You don't. You really don't. You really don't, because it happens so fast.
Right.
But time does kind of slow down for you when you're in the middle of it. And so for me, I did beat myself up a lot afterwards. But then I look at it as, well, my training and experience kicked in. I knew there was still a gunman out there. And I knew that Caleb was with Jason, and so I went after the gunman still. And at that same time that I was going after him, another officer showed up. Paul Stackenwall showed up, and so we both went after the guy. Well, I remember when I crossed over the picnic tables and towards the drive-through side, there was this big semi-truck, just the bobtail sitting there.
Right.
And so I went towards him to ask him if he saw the guy run that way.
Right.
And Paul went to the left. Well, thank goodness he did, because he's the one that saw the broken glass from the vehicle. It was actually an employee's vehicle from Sonic, but the gunman broke the glass and got in the car. So he saw the glass, and he put two and two together, and he stacked up. He had his rifle, and so I stacked up next to him on the right shoulder. So I was basically right at the left tail light of the vehicle, probably about 5 feet or 10 feet off of the car. And this is the part that when I talk to first responders, I just tell them that this is how fast it happens. Because if I had to go from my holster to here, when he pulled the gun on me, I probably wouldn't have got the first shot. He probably would have. That's just my personal opinion. But they did show me, the agency did show me like a still shot of the very last second of my body camera before I shot. and it was totally different than what I remember. You know, what I remember is seeing the side of the gun.
Wow.
You know, and what they showed me was the gun pointed at my chest, and I was like, "There's just no way that guy got the gun on me that fast." So I do try to, you know, explain that to first responders.
Wow.
That you're always going to be a reaction to an action, and that's the tough part of the job.
Yeah. Wow.
But I will say that I've also been very good at training shooting, and I've always improved myself over time. So it's important to do that because my scores were good, you know, and I credit a lot of that with my shooting skills. And the suspect didn't make it. We both ended the threat pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well.
But then from there we still had 2 officers behind us, so we stayed covered down until EMS got in there.
Yeah.
Got Caleb out of there. Caleb made a full recovery.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, Caleb did. Yep, he did. Jason did pass away at the scene.
Oh, yeah.
Caleb.
But his hip, you
Yeah,
said.
yeah. From what I was told, you know, it was like through and through. Barely make the bone.
Wow.
So made a full recovery. I think he got to the hospital the next day.
Wow.
That's good.
Great kid. Yes.
Wow. So you all see how law enforcement, hey, they put their lives on the line all the time. So, you know, hey, give them a break sometime, okay? I mean, no, all the time give them a break. Because the thing of it is, you know, they're out there to protect us and to protect, you know, your children. So,
and if any of us had to be in that same position without training, there's no telling.
Right.
You know,
That will, you know. I mean,
unless you're in that situation.
Yeah, and that's the
thing.
It's
hard to judge it. You know.
It's hard to judge it. And then you got these idiots that are out here shooting, and they can't even shoot.
Yeah.
They have, you know, and then they're killing innocent people, you know, and then you want to protect them. You don't want to tell it, you know. So I'm going to just say this. If you see something, say something.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm still amazed today that nobody else was. I mean, the amount of bullets that flew that night, I mean, it's just amazing that no one else got injured or hurt. And there were a lot of people out there, you know, Sonic, you know. But,
So you move on, and now you're talking about first responders.
Well, I don't quite move on just yet.
Okay, all right.
Still have one more.
All right, okay.
I had just learned, my wife and I just learned that she was pregnant about a couple of weeks, four weeks or so prior to my shooting.
All right,
so that would be our first child.
Okay.
So we had our first sonogram appointment on the 18th.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we were told that we had a miscarriage. So so I hadn't even had slept at that point yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was actually at the doctor's office, literally, and TVs had our incident on it. You know, and it's so. Looking back on it now, I'm just like, I'm sitting there watching this incident. There's people just their everyday life, you know, they're just going on with their everyday lives, and they're in the doctor's office, they're watching it. None of them have a clue that I was, you know,
that's right
there with them all.
Right.
And then we go in and we're excited. She's doing all the stuff, you know, we're so excited, and I'm trying to hold on to that.
Yeah.
And then we're like, they take us back to this baby room, you know, this room, and we start suspecting something's wrong. Well, I don't think either one of us want to
acknowledge it.
Right.
Especially after what we just went through. And, the doctor finally calls us and tells us that we had miscarried. And I think at this point, I don't even remember. I often wonder if the nurses even just thought that we were just didn't care. But I just don't think we had anything else left to grieve.
Right.
Everything we just went through.
You had your father a year before, you had your incident.
We were just dumbfounded. We were just like, what? Like, what just happened? And then we were like, well, what do we do with this information? You know what I mean? We had one more task.
Too much to process. Too much.
We still had to go to the candlelight vigil. That was the night of the candlelight vigil for Jason, the 18th. So we just scooped it up.
Oh.
We went. We didn't tell anybody. We kept it to ourselves.
Wow,
man! And we didn't want to take anything off of Jason and his family. So we just kind of tucked it away. And man, that was it. The worst part was that it was COVID, and the worst part was that nobody gave her any kind of, assistance. So she was at home.
Right, had to deal with that. When you're not there, she has to deal with it herself.
And then I had COVID too at the same time.
Wow.
Shortly after. And so we were on separate sides of the house because that's what you did back then. And so she's dealing with the actual physical miscarriage, and I'm on the other side of the house getting it before. I finally call EMS. EMS comes in, and they're like complete you know,
Yeah.
years.
Yes,
I
spaceship.
told them I had COVID, yeah. And they wouldn't help her out. They wouldn't take her to the hospital, nothing. So they just left, and that was just very traumatic.
Wow, man.
Yeah, just awful. Just bam, 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 you know. And so I think that's what finally happened. I think the miscarriage really, I think, hit me almost harder than the shooting. And I think people really thought the shooting was what was really what hit me. But I've always wanted to be a dad. Like that was I was just so excited.
Yeah, that's it. It's a piece of your life.
Right.
Your,
And for it to happen the way it did and when it did and all that, it just kind of like just put me in this fog. And I remember it today. You're in it, but you can't. It's like you're on almost like autopilot. You know, you can go to work, you can live your life, but man, you're just not the same person. And people see it. And you see it. You can have a conversation with yourself in your head, like, all right, this is the right thing to do, but then you do the opposite.
Right.
And you're just in this crazy fog that I just can't even explain unless you've been there.
You see the step you need to take, but you can't take it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I stayed in, and I give it really 18 months. I think 18 months was my worst. The first 18 months was when I was in the worst fog. And I didn't. You know, I did like what most first responders do. We just don't talk about things because I came from an era where you just didn't talk about mental health.
Push it down.
And I quit law enforcement first time in 2010, and back then you just didn't talk about it.
Right.
So there's still part of me that just didn't want to talk about it. Then there's a part of me that did, and so I tried to get help, or I tried to get recommendations from other people.
Right.
But then when I follow through, probably not. You know, and. But it's important to do so. It's really important to do so. If you are in that fog after a critical incident or even just cumulative trauma, you've got to reach out to someone. And hopefully now that could be the Partner Foundation, which is why I designed this foundation and created it. But
so this is where the idea and the concept for the Partner Foundation kind of flourished and came from.
Everything that I went through in that 18 months.
Well, you know, and I hate to say it too in a sense, but you know, that's, man, God does the things, man. I mean, you know, and we take our time to come out because nobody can tell you how long you got to grieve. You know what I'm saying? And you probably still in it. And some days you're gonna be in it worse than others, even in the future. You know, because that's the way it is. But the thing of it is, you know, when you can, and look here, you got to pay the price to find something bigger than yourself. That's it. You got to pay the price. I mean, you're going to pay a price. You know, when God gives you a mission to take yourself and become an instrument of His peace and His will, hey, you're going to pay a price to do that.
It's like it breaks you down to mold you the way.
There it is. There it is. There it is. So tell us how this family, how it works now.
So I'll just say real quick that, you know, the reason why we're called the Partner Foundation, and it's called Partner for Providing Area Resources to National Emergency Responders. Basically what I saw was in the 18 months or after my 18 months of being in the fog, you know, I finally did start making some connections with some nonprofits, various nonprofits. And long story short, what I noticed with helping them out and learning about nonprofits and especially ones that are first responder based, it's really hard to get first responders on board. And I can relate to that. Where a lot of us are we're just, you know, we don't trust you, right? If you're not first responder,
just understandable.
Then we're not going to trust you. Y'all probably have seen
that. I see it all the time.
And veterans, I'm not sure. I'm not a veteran, so I can't.
Well, they're even more. If you're not a veteran, in some cases, you know, or at least have some experience with, you know,
So, but I opened up myself. I won't say that I have any animosity towards my agency. I don't think that way. I just feel like there's a silly analogy I kind of use. Like, you're not going to go to Chick-fil-A and get a hamburger. You're just not. Right. Agencies do try their best to have,
but they're limited.
Some of them are just checking boxes. Some of them really do truly care. And so when I did finally go to my agency, I'm like, I need some help. You know, they gave me 2 options. Those 2 options failed me, and there was no other path forward. So for me, it was like, all right, there's this nonprofit that's trying to get me to go out wake surfing with them. All right, let me try it. Best thing I ever did.
Get out of your So,
Man,
yeah,
the best thing I ever
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So, and real long story short, the first day that I was surfing with him, I could not get up on that board for nothing all morning. I was the one trying to pull the boat backwards. So, and they kept trying to tell me, you can't do that.
You can't do
Just
that.
pop you up
You
like
do
a
like
cork.
this. And you
Right. No.
So finally after lunch, I finally got the hang of it. I got up on the board finally for the first time. I surfed. I let go of the rope. I'm surfing. Didn't probably last 10 seconds and I fell.
Yeah.
But it was
an
the
accomplishment.
greatest, the greatest feeling I had.
Right.
In months and
Wow.
months. And so I pop up out of the water and I'm laughing and I'm like, oh, this is great. And then immediately the Survivor's Guilt hits me the first time. That was the first time I had Survivor's Guilt. And I started bawling because here I am out having fun on the lake and Jason died. You know, so your mind plays those tricks on you. But for me, I was very fortunate because on the boat was a lady who had to go through the same stuff with her husband, who's paraplegic. And she had to go through all that. So she noticed the change in me immediately, and she pulled me aside and we talked. And it was just nice to have that instant. That person that instantly just pulled me aside and was like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, that's the best hindsight looking back, that's the best place to be, to have that survivor's guilt versus at home by myself. Right. That attack. So from that point forward, I was hooked. I mean, this was adventure therapy for me. Regular therapy just does not work for me.
Right. Yeah. And it's not for everybody. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, it's that regular therapy thing.
I mean, it has its places.
Well, it has its place.
It did help me later.
In certain places.
At the time, that's what I needed, was that adventure. That adrenaline rush and that what I call eustress, basically. Good stress. So then at that point, I got really connected with the foundation. At that foundation, I started helping them out every year and on 2 different events. I go to Tennessee and also Lake Norman. But one of the things I saw was sometimes it was a struggle for them to get first responders. And then I was helping out other places and the same thing, you know, help hard to get first responders. So I was like, man, you know, I don't want to recreate the wheel. I want to create a foundation. I want to create something. Even if it's just myself, I don't care. I want to do something to help first responders, but I don't want to recreate the wheel. There's so many organizations out here that I'm sure they're already doing it right. So I said, well, I'm gonna strategically make a foundation that's more like a network foundation. That way I can keep it small. I don't have to have a lot of like you guys have property, you have buildings, you got to keep up and all that stuff, right? I mean, I don't have the resources for that, but I can help out first responders just through my story, and through what I've gone through.
Send them to that property, or send them to
Send them to
the right therapies. You know,
my wife and I kind of brainstormed one day, and she's actually the one who came up with the name, and I was like, wow, that's great, partner with everybody, and
it really is,
and so what our goal is it has evolved. I mean, we started off with just an idea. That's how it always starts off.
That's where it has.
And it has evolved into this chip program that we have. I got one right here. But this ceramic chip that has a QR code on the back and then our logo on the front. And it started off with blue tickets, tear-off tickets. You know, like entry tickets. And the civilians could or public could buy them for $5, and then we would donate them to coffee shops and let first responders get coffee. Well, that's kind of how it started, pay it forward program. And then it turned into these, and people were buying these, and I was like, man, this is great. But how else can we evolve this thing? So now it's evolved basically into a network, a landing page that has resources that we partner with. And you guys are listed on there, and other nonprofits, and what it is that you do. And then it's evolved into, well, maybe I could find first responders that have gone through critical incidents, and I could fly them in to events, and then let that foundation take them under their wing, and then when they're done, I fly them back home. And so we officially did our first one last year with Officer Omar Delgado, and I'm sure he'll be fine with me sharing his name. He was the first officer on scene of the Pulse nightclub shooting in 2016 in Florida.
I
50 or some people.
I remember that.
So I met Omar through a private Facebook group, survivors group, basically. And I asked anybody who they'd be willing to come out and surf, and he answered up. And I said, perfect. So we flew him in. I picked him up at the airport, and man, he and I just connected like so
nice.
And I took him out. We did 3 days surfing, and then while he was there, he was like, And I didn't even put the dates together. I didn't realize what the dates were. And he's like, well, this could be better time. And he said every year, whenever the anniversary comes around, he said, people will reach out, news agencies want to reach out, interview them, and all that stuff. And he said it's really nice to be away from home during the anniversary. So I looked up the date. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the anniversary was like right in the middle of a 3-day event on Lake Norman. So we got him out of Florida.
Oh yeah.
And it was just amazing. Yeah.
That is.
So I took him back to the airport. He flew home. We still stay in contact today. But that was our first successful one, and that's kind of what allowed us to then evolve the chip into more. So our goal eventually is to do an app that it links to.
Okay.
So the idea is that these get sponsored
Okay.
by organizations,
Right.
and they get their name on the side.
Right.
We distribute these out in various ways throughout the community, and then civilians and can then hand these to first responders and thank them for their commitment. And first responders get these in their hands, they scan it, they sign up for this app, and then we have a list of resources. So for example, let's use your organization, Camp for Heroes, right? You guys do stuff for first responders, and you would be on that app. So if you have an event, you would post it on our app, or we can post it for you. And it would be a community where immediately first responders get notification. You have this event, and if they're local, they want to go, then they can sign up. Or
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, we're still developing it. So I know these things are out there; they're all over the place. There's an officer I ran into the other day. He's got 6 of them in his backpack.
Yeah.
I just say, hold on to them. We're still doing some really good things with them.
All right.
We're in the distribution phase.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where we're at today. We're very new. I mean, I left law enforcement to buy a business. I had a business opportunity to buy, and I did that for 2 years, which kind of really kept me from focusing on the foundation as much as I really wanted to.
Yeah.
But now I'm back and focusing on this.
What kind of business did you buy?
Coffee shop.
Oh, coffee shop.
Yeah.
So you still there?
No, I sold it, and
Man, I need some. You can bring
I
coffee.
know.
John, you have coffee.
I can still make a mean coffee. I
get some coffee. And make some Jesus when we get
Yeah, all right.
But it was all part of God's plan, and He wanted me to take a break. I think is what it was from law enforcement, because really it was getting out that really allowed me to finally get out of that fog.
Yeah.
It really was.
So this is truly the purpose. When Jett and I started out on this mission, this is truly the purpose of Power and Patriots. We had the opportunity to interview Gary Sinise last week, and everybody knows who he is. But he did have some neat things he's doing. His son passed away January of 24. And so he's, there's things that people don't know about that he's doing to promote his organization. So I was trying to highlight that and trying to highlight the creative vets that he was talking about in Nashville. Things people don't know about. He's talking, Kyle's talking about being new, but that's the purpose of this, is that like you may be new, but these are the people we want to highlight. There are people all around you who are doing great things in their communities. And, this in particular is a great opportunity where, whether it's Camp for Heroes, whether it's Believers Today, whether it's another organization up north, out west, there's tons of fly fishing organization, wakeboarding, there's tons of things. And this is a great thing that he is doing. So
yeah, I'm just trying to bring them all together under one.
That's a great idea, though.
Right.
It's wonderful.
If you have an organization that can come in and partner with Kyle, of course he's got to vet. I mean, because he's not going to just send them anywhere. We're not going to just send them anywhere. But if you know an organization that helps veterans, helps first responders, the heart's in the right place, and they're doing great things, send them to Kyle, send them to Power Patriots, and whatever it is, and we'll get it to him. But definitely, that's the whole purpose of this, is getting people together, whole communities of people. And if you're a first responder that is struggling, reach out to Kyle. Tell them how they can contact
Kyle. My direct email is kyle@partnernc.org. Kyle@partnernc.org. Just send me an email. Send me an email with your phone number. I'll call you. We'll grab coffee, grab lunch.
The website's the same, right? Partnernc.org.
Partnernc.org,
Okay. Great.
So it's going to be ever evolving, like he said, and we'll try to keep you up to date with it. We'll put him on our Power Patriots website, so you can find it there easy for a link. But as it evolves, just stay in touch so you can see what he's doing and ways you might be able to get involved.
Absolutely.
All right. And if you know someone that is doing wonderful things in your community or your neighborhood, hey, reach out to us. We'd love to interview them and shine the light of the Holy Spirit on them. Wouldn't we, John? How do they contact us?
That's right. You can reach us at john@powerpatriots.com. If you go to powerpatriots.com, there's a way you can sign up for the email. So just go on there. It's right on the front page. Easy. Plus, you can see our episodes there, and find ways you can get involved with us as well. So we thank you so much for being here. And every time we end this show, Kyle, we end it with "You are watching the Power of Patriots." So we'll do that now with you.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
You are watching the Power of Patriots.